Hello, I'm Steve Monkey Mason. Welcome to It's Just a Podcast with my special guest today, Paul Ray Decline. That's his new name, or Decline Paul Ray. And Carl McSorley. We are starting a new trilogy today. This is Paul's choice, although I think Paul opted that we were doing this. This is the audio commentary for Back to the Future. So I'm getting ready to press play on 3, 2, 1, boop. It's another Universal bog standard arty-farty Blu-ray screen. Good old classic.
Yeah, it's basic, but it's still better than others. There's a little bit of effort gone into it.
This has got, like, the first one for me personally was something I had taped off at a very young age. Just the era of Spielberg, man.
It's funny you say that because I was thinking about it this morning and I thought to myself, I honestly think, no, I think the first time I had this was recorded off TV. I don't even think I had a VHS for this.
No, I think it's VHS for me.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I've seen this on VHS, and then I went to see the third one out of pictures in 1989, but I never seen the second one. Obviously, I was only, eight at the time, so I didn't know what was going on. But I don't mind Back to the Future, the first one, but number 2 is my favourite, like, on its Felix the Cat.
Buster Keaton now.
Yeah.
This is a great, like, again, though, thinking about this, like thinking about an intro, and this always reminds me of the Goonies, but again, like,
Yes, yeah.
I seen this at the era of, like, the Goonies, the Gremlins, but there's a lot of information passed across the screen, because this is a very similar shot to what was in Roger Rabbit the other day when it was passing across the table.
Yeah, Roger Bob Smirks, isn't it? He's just did the same thing.
Yeah.
That's a style.
Well, it's the same.
Like,
It's Alan Silvestris as well.
A lot.
Obviously, we're just coming off the back end of watching Roger Rabbit, and obviously it's the same composer. Spielberg, Zemeckis, Huey Lewis and the News. You know you've got a fucking hit single, or you've specifically wrote a song, and that only happens in the 80s when you have that credited in the main titles. You just don't get that now.
Yeah. But this is up there, isn't it, for the 80s? It's like for that kind of, it feels 80s, it's a great story, but also it had the great music, which basically is the epitome of 80s for me, basically.
Well, I got the score, Britt got the score for a birthday off my mum, actually, and it's the Mondo one, and it's a fucking weird-ass score, like, because it's got a couple of the songs, but then there's the this has one of the greatest and familiar anthems, but, like, the score is, like, mixed in between the songs and stuff, and it's not it's not like side A score, side B songs, it's kind of a fucking quirky one, like. Oh.
Einstein dinner, lush.
Again, some of that.
I think they made a smart move with the title, though. Obviously, for those who didn't know, this was originally meant to be called Spaceman from Pluto, which I think definitely better. Definitely, hell no. It just seemed weird. It just didn't make sense.
And obviously, everyone knows that Eric Stoltz was filming for weeks and weeks and weeks, but the test screening didn't. They looked back at some of the screenings and it didn't really rate him that much. So obviously, they got Michael J. Fox, who was the first choice. Obviously, they had to work around his schedule with Family Ties, wasn't it? Or Family Matters, or Family Ties?
Family Ties, yeah.
They had to work around his schedule, didn't they? Yeah. So, Michael J. Fox is pretty good, like. But there is one or two scenes where you actually still have Eric Stoltz, like, back of his head is some of the scenes. I'll point them out later.
I'm going to say, like, it's a weird one. I don't think we can ever really judge it because I've seen the test shots and stuff like that, and to be honest with you, they look great, but at the same time, they're just a little bit off because it's not Michael J. Fox. It's how you know it. So it's interesting.
Yeah, why does the big massive speaker reminds of Bullseye for?
Why does he have that though? That's the next question. Why would you have that?
What?
Super Smashing Great.
Well, he did have a mansion, remember? He might have been
burned down, remember?
That's right, Not many people read those little details.
No.
Eric Stotts, I'm not really like. My really first exposure to him. I didn't see like sort of. You can see all the camera guys there in Josh Fox's glasses now, but my experience of him was like Anacondas and like he was in a Pulp Fiction and he sort of like he kept popping up loads of stuff. Definitely in the mid-90s for me, but I didn't see stuff like The Fly 2 till I was a little bit older. I'm glad as well because The Fly 2 is fucking horrible with a dog.
Oh yeah, Fly 2 is mental, but he said the Mask, Rocky Dennis story. Sorry, he was in that. He was awesome in that. So he is a really good actor.
Yeah.
Precisely, Marty.
I think like when you see him in Anaconda, he plays that kind of like. You can see he's a good actor. Yeah, he plays a fucking snake. But like, you just look at him and Michael J. Fox is just like he's just the kid 80s. Do you know what I mean? This is Casper's role model.
Yeah.
Casper still models his life off what Michael J. Fox is.
With driving 80 miles an hour. Yeah, you're right. Precisely, Marty. It's worked. Great theme.
What came first? It was Back to the Future, then Roger Rabbit, wasn't it?
Yeah, Roger Rabbit was 88.
No. Because Roger Rabbit took years to make, though. I was just...
Do you know what? Power love is a curious thing. But be careful so don't get copyrighted.
Yeah.
You hear that though, but did you hear about that YouTuber who got copyrighted because he was saying Tom Cruise, the name Tom Cruise, to the tune of Mission Impossible, and he got his video taken down. They claimed it, and it was just like literally because he said the word Tom Cruise, but in the theme tune of Mission Impossible by vocal voice, it's like wasn't in tune, wasn't even close to the song. It's like
that totally looks like that totally looks like Harrison Ford.
I'm just saying the Universal Backup's been used in everything. Like it's him. I watch. I always think of Gremlins and Monster Squad.
Yeah.
She's one of the only. She was replaced, wasn't she? She's replaced by Elizabeth Shue in the second one, isn't she?
Karate Kid.
Now this guy, he must be like the principal in every film. It's his role in it.
Well, I thought he was long dong dead, right? But obviously he was interviewed not long ago. He was in Problem Child 2, Top Gun. He's also in Masters of the Universe, but then doesn't seem to have made much.
Nah.
The worst being a slacker.
Nah.
I love the third one where he's like he's playing his great like granddad, but he's just got hair. But it's just like the same traits.
He's not in the second one, is he? He's in the third one, isn't he?
Yes, no, he's in the second one. It's when Michael J. Fox Marty gets his newspaper off his porch, and he sees it at school, burned down 5 years ago. In alternative 1985.
This was a big thing back in the 80s, band tryouts and stuff like that. There's a lot of, don't get us wrong, they've probably warranted off this, but there was a lot of band mosh-ups, Bill and Ted and rock and roll high schools and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's Huey Louie there. You're just too goddamn loud. That's him. That's his little star roll. Obviously, this would have just been after Ghostbusters, because obviously Ray Parker Jr. and had a bit of a copyright issue, didn't it, with Ghostbusters, because it sounded like another song of Huey Louie in the News. There's a big legal thing.
That's it, though. It goes down. It's like you go back in the day and you look at copyright stuff and all that, but then you look at it now, and there's a very grey line between copyright now, because you've got some people want exposure, people all that. Some people don't really care. They just want the music to be a part of it. Some people have one-hit singles, and anything else is show me the money. And like YouTube's weird because people do like literally get albums, chuck it on there, make fake accounts, you know, like because everyone wants something for free. Do you know what I mean? No one wants to pay for something, and then everyone complains when like they don't like the band isn't around anymore. So buy the fucking album. But like it's kind of like there's an adult bookshop in the background. That's a bit of a
it's not that. Yeah.
But it's like you know what I mean? It's kind of like people on YouTube who, like, you know what I mean? Especially taking clips and then making it like their own, and then they're complaining that someone's like, you know, oh, I've got a copyright claim and I can't monetize it. It's not your fucking content. Like, I wouldn't even dream about monetizing anything of mine. That because, again, if you look at me going, right, he's Back to the Future Blu-ray, don't buy it, it's shit. And someone's kicking off that they're not getting monetized for it. You're telling somebody not to buy something? It's a fucking very grey line of what you can and can't do, like.
Can you guys remember Texas Pro? I think I've seen one.
Well, Texas, it exists all the way through the series, doesn't it? Because it's the hover stuff.
I'm talking about Newcastle. I'm talking about Newcastle, man. I remember one in Newcastle in Fenham, that was it. One.
Not in my childhood.
That's what reminds me of Back to the Future.
See the tower.
Lose fitness.
How many times has this been available to buy different versions, and the 4K version and the Macedon 4K versions, and it's been done many times. It's Universal just terrible for that.
Universal's absolutely terrible for reissuing stuff, but I think Universal.
But you say they're terrible at it, and this is where I get like kind of confused by people when they say it's terrible. So in the long run, obviously Universal own a product. So my argument is that if people are still buying it, as long as you put the effort in. See, me personally, I didn't particularly love the steelbooks that they just released in 4K. It was just, I don't know, just something off about it. But the reality is, like, I hear, not that you particularly or anyone in this kind of circle, but I hear a lot of people going, oh, it's ridiculous how they do this, that, and the other. It's like, but people still buy it. You know what I mean? I see people who have got like 6 copies of the same film, and I'm not talking about different artwork, I'm talking about the same copy. It's bizarre. So I think like with Universal, it's just like, well, hold on, if I've got a cash cow here, I'm just going to spread it.
I think one of the best things about Back to the Future, though, it came along in the right era where it's essentially always going to be a trilogy box set now, you know, through DVD and stuff like that. It's, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, because like it's nothing
you say
worse.
You say that, but then HMV released the Japanese Back to the Future 1, which I will guarantee you there probably won't be a second or third one released.
Well, there probably was a plan because they did it with the VHS covers, so I think it's just more the first one because there's quite a big gap between it. And like with Jaws, there's never going to be a trilogy box set because Steven Spielberg wants nothing to do, even though the second one isn't as bad as people remember.
Yeah. I think it's hard though when the first one is on its own pedestal. You know what I mean? That's probably one of the few films that I would say I would go as far as saying it's nearly flawless. In fact, no, I think it is flawless. So in respect of that, the second one was never going to be deemed as good. But no, I think you're right. I think if you rewatch it, I think you can probably find a lot of great out of it. I just listened to the score today after I had Back to the Future on, then I put Jaws 2, which is quite a rare vinyl to get a hold of. And I was just listening to that and I was like, you know what, the score is... It's got a lot more going on in the first one. It's fucking creepy. It's fucking all that. Now, give it a talk here. Crispin Glover was a big thing in the 80s, and it's well documented that he's a bit wired. Have you ever seen the music video of The Clown? When he's dancing as a clown and singing about a clown? Yes, I haven't, I've seen a clip of it. I think it was like I don't know, like a meme or a gif or something like that, but it was, yeah. He's a character. No, he's a cartoon, essentially. And the Friday the 13th, wasn't he? Is not also?
Yeah, he
Friday the 13th,
I'm a dead fuck. That's what it say. It says I'm a dead fuck. Because he gets stabbed in the hand with a bottle opener, then macheted in the face. But he sort of like went off the radars because obviously there was a big falling out because he isn't in the second one. He's replaced, very, very good replaced in the second one for when he is on camera. And then sort of like has been quiet but has popped up in quite a few things. But he's brilliant in this. Like, again, he's, you know what I mean? He's acting older. He's about the same age as Michael J. Fox. He's not that old.
He they wanted more money for the second one, so basically they took a face cast from this film, obviously for his makeup, and just put on someone else. So as soon as he found out, he sued Universal for a lot of money. So he's never said how much it was, but I think they're all still friends now. Like, but yeah,
I think I saw him do an interview about maybe a year and a half ago.
Was it a little bit?
No, it was on YouTube. It was like a movie channel sort of thing. I wouldn't necessarily say everyone's happy, but I would say that he's over it. I don't think he loses any sleep over it now. I mean, he got his money apparently, and at the end of the day, I think in his head it's like it's never going to become an issue. You know, you're never going to see. Well, I hope you don't, but you're never going to see another Back to the Future. You're never going to have that conversation of where he's going to be involved with the people who were involved. So I think he's happy just to kind of walk away from it.
It definitely looks like it affected his career, though. I mean, he was the baddie in Charlie's Angels, and that was kind of like a big comeback role and all that. And he has popped up in quite a few. He's in forgetting what he was in recently, and he's walking around the woods. He's got long hair and stuff. I'm forgetting what it was.
Just say about Jaws 2 before. That was Leah Thompson's first film, and obviously
Jaws 3. Jaws 3.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jaws 3. Yeah. Sorry.
Yo.
I always thought she was a really good actress. This Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
Dennis.
Again, though, again, you can say them for the 80s and all that, but then again, it's like, wait, what's happened to her? Is she dead?
No, she's directed some Goldberg episodes, and she's got she's a director now.
I think that's what a lot of them have done in that era now. They're either like producers or directors or writers and stuff like that. They just play behind the scenes. Because I mean, obviously, if you think about it, I mean, I don't know if she needs it, but she's pretty active on the comic convention line of things.
Oh yeah,
So,
I mean, we had missed a trick and not. We should have invited back the one and only Mr. Sluggy, who has been absent for a while till he recovers. Like, the fact is, Sluggy notoriously wiped out a fucking credit card to meet Michael J. Fox on the whole fucking shebang package. Like, 450 quid plus additional content. So when these guys do the cons, they get the money and everyone wants a picture with DeLorean.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, I was meant to go to that comic convention that you speak of with Sluggy. Not with Sluggy, but the one he went to. And like I say, I think I tallied it up. If I went, it would have been near to about, talking about like $1,000 at least for what was available. But my only legitimate claim is, not the real one, of course, but I have got a picture of me sitting in a DeLorean with Marty's hoverboard. I thought, that's as close as I'll get, thanks.
It's a weird one, the DeLorean, because, like, I mean, the DeLorean turned up one day outside of Steel Town Music, and Matty and them jumped on, got a really good picture. But then, like, have you guys ever seen that documentary on Netflix about Atari and the E.T. game?
Oh yeah.
And the guy, whatever he's rich for, he basically buys a fucking DeLorean, and he picks it up and he drives to, like, find this E.T. game in a DeLorean, and, like, can you imagine how many people still got them going but they're not on the road?
Yeah. Well, we had one at work, Beamish. It was like wasn't like anything big. It was just it probably would have been the same one as the one in concert, mate. But yeah, I think there's quite a few people who've done that. Like,
you guys totally should have a DeLorean at Beamish Museum, man. And when you finally get to a Western thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know about the Twin Pines Mall sign, don't you? It goes back, and it's only one. It's like a Pines Mall, because obviously
Twin
lockdown.
Pine,
And the time's a little bit different. Yeah. This is a great intro to the DeLorean. Like,
that is definitely the same dog that was in Roger Rabbit in the bins. This always scared me as a kid.
I was quite surprised, to be honest with you. I mean, it's just a little thing, but it's all in the detail. But that NECA having done an Einstein, you would have thought they would have made one to go with Doc or something like that. You can get Doc, you can get Marty, who's not only future as well as present. You can get him in the radioactive suit. And funny enough, they've never done an Einstein.
Must be any rights.
No, he's probably giving them up.
It kind of accelerates stuff. The dog.
Anyone guy remember a film in the 80s that had a front cover just like looked like RoboCop, wasn't it? It was called like the ventilator or something like that. I remember seeing that as a kid, right, and thinking I was watching Back to the Future, especially when he's got like the orange suit on, and this guy basically he gets locked in this room and everyone's just like, let him out, and it's like a big conspiracy, and he literally gets blown to bits and comes back as like a robot, like a cyborg thing. It fucking traumatizes as a kid.
It's 4:24 a.m., Marty. Look at a camcorder, man.
Good old Mason, you've got one of them, haven't you?
Yeah.
Mason actually went back to 1985 to get one.
Yeah.
I mean, when you had a camera like that, man, not only did like the battery get hot around the back of your head, but like you couldn't fucking hear anything because the VHS tape would just be going.
Yeah.
Yeah, we never had anything like that. I think it was we went into the small cassette recording tapes, probably like late 90s.
Mini DV, high 8, then mini DV, yeah.
He is confident here, but imagine if he sent Einstein off and then just completely fucked it up.
I know, it's like then if you watch The Fly when that fucking baboon comes back going, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, inside out. Let me the cop, Marty. So, which DeLorean do you prefer, 1, 2, or 3?
What, as in to own or just literally as a look?
As a look, 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah, I've got to go with the original, I think.
Yeah.
I like the idea of them in the future changing it, and that would be a much more practical idea for me to own it, but in reality, I think you can't go wrong with the first one.
Number 2 for me, like Mr. Fusion does it for me, like recycling. I'm like Captain Planet these days. Boop. I like it when he moves out to the left a little bit, then it looks down, goes, no, hang on, come a bit closer, where you going?
I don't think I mean, again, of all of the errors of revitalising and stuff, I think they could have maybe fixed this a little bit better with CGI, because this is one bit of the movie I don't think's held up, and it's the fire on the
flames.
Yeah.
And the feet.
I was going to say, I was thinking that when I had the menu screen on while I was waiting.
No, don't change it. Leave it.
I don't know, hold on, let me see, I want to see it properly.
Like the feet are
I mean, that looks alright when the fire's starting and like, boom. Just that bit there when they're standing on the blue screen, it's just that.
Nah, I can live with that, like, I'm happy with that.
Mind you, when I first seen this on Blu-ray, I think it's a bit where Doc's getting changed or something like that. You can see the makeup where it stops. You know what I mean? It was that much high def. It was like you could see the makeup where it stops in one of his tops.
I mean, obviously, if you want to get really technical, I mean, those flames are all blown way too much to the side, and it's all blue, so you know it's gas. You know what I mean? So you get technical about it.
It's not as bad as Time Cop when they have to get in that massive shuttle car and a fucking like rah, and like boom, and like he'll just appear and he falls in the water, or he walks out in front of a truck and he's got a duck, and then like they come back in it and I'm just like, well, where does it go?
Yeah.
Well, how does it get back? How does Einstein get it back?
It's remote control.
Well, I was saying, didn't they set it remote control wise? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Though, like it was such a bold move if it was realistic. Because I mean, he sent his dog into the future, but if that buggers up somehow, poor Einstein's just out there. Now, this film does have some canny taglines, 7 to be precise overall, but we do have a UK official one, which is, he's the only kid to ever get in trouble before he was born. Which, yeah, fair play. So, then you've got, he was never in time for his classes, then one day he wasn't in time at all.
Alright.
Isn't enough.
I didn't know actually.
Sorry?
I didn't actually Back to the Future had any taglines. You never seen one of posters, do you?
Nah. 70-year-old Marty McFly got home early last night, 30 years early. He was never in time for his classes. He wasn't in time for his dinner. Then one day he wasn't in time at all. Marty McFly having the time of his life. The only question is, what time is it? Let's get there. And then you've got Marty McFly just broke the time barrier. He's only got 1 week to fix it. That's just not a tagline. That's just a synopsis.
That just sounds like some from Blockbusters wrote it back a bit.
Aye, staff recommendations.
But the last one, but not least, meet Marty McFly. He broke the time barrier, busted his parents' first date, and maybe botched his chances of being born.
What does he mean by busted his parents?
Botch.
Oh.
Busted his parents. Busted his parents' first date. Like, knocked the first date up, which I'm assuming he means when you get hit by the car. But that's not the first date.
That's why for the time machine, Marty.
But it was a good gamble. It made money. Anyone want to wager a guess on what the budget was?
I'm thinking 20.
It wasn't much because they were struggling to get this made. I mean, no matter what it is, this has made an absolute fortune. We'll talk about this in a second. But no, I'm going to say like 2025.
It was actually 19.
Yes, Pee-wee.
But its overall gross worldwide was $381,109,762.
Jesus,
So I did alright.
See, I remember this as well. Back to the Future is obviously one of Universal's big one of their big attractions into the 90s, especially Universal Studios. Jaws, King Kong, the original King Kong ride, Back to the Future, the DeLorean, stuff like that. It was kind of that I often kick myself in because I had a few days in LA just to kill some time and stuff, and I was like, well, what do I want to do? And I went to Universal Studios, and it's mainly the one you go to and you do the backlots, but then you don't really think about Warner Brothers having a backlot tour. It never clicked to us, and you might have it, but you know what I mean. So iconicness, merchandise, how much they've done with Back to the Future. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The ride's not there now, is it? It's a Simpsons ride now, isn't it?
Simpsons ride's fucking mental, mine, guys. That's one of them weird illusions where it's 3D but not. I mean, I've been on the Back to the Future ride and it was good, but they've sort of took that era and just shoved them into a backlot ride, haven't they?
But if you wanted to, on the Blu-ray or there's the full ride, the vision of the full ride. They've actually got on the bonus features.
Yeah. I think the funny thing is, go for it, Paul.
I had that on the screens at work one time, and people go, "What's this?" No, it's the right thing being there, isn't it? Sorry, man.
No, I was just going to say. I mean, obviously, when I went to Florida, there was the earthquake one in the subway. Then we did the Terminator 2, 3D one. The 4D one. I want to say 4D because it had people in the room.
Oh yeah.
But it was 3D on the screen, but then they had interaction with the rooms and that, and I'm sure there was water and shit. And then there was a Spider-Man one, which is the one that I always remember the most being the best. Then the Simpsons one, and then there was this one. And I honestly think this one was the least impressive one of all of them. It was dated because it was the oldest one, yeah. It was the most dated one. It was great, don't get me wrong, I had a great time riding it and that, but it was when I think back now, I can visually tell you a lot of stuff about the other ones. This one, I just remember getting chased by Biff.
If the bit where he's talking about the car, about going to the future, I think it's this bit here when you see his makeup. There's a scene before his makeup stops a certain place. I love HD and 4K, but sometimes it does give away a little bit for me.
A lot of the older films need to have that quality. There's no point taking a film that was made in sort of 70s or 80s and then making it absolutely crisp clean, because it's all part of the character of the film.
I'm so surprised they haven't replaced Libyans with terrorists or something else.
Yeah,
really generic. Like a TV edit.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's the terrorists party.
There you go, there's a shit bomb. This is pretty brutal, So he's
it's pretty dark, like.
because they want the juice off him, don't they? That's what they want.
Well,
But
yeah,
no, he nicked
off,
the
didn't he? Yeah.
He nicked the bomb and left something else instead, so they're just getting revenge, really.
Oh yeah, Doc's a bad guy here.
Yeah?
Just to clarify, Crispin Glover was given $1 million.
Yeah, we got him. Not bad.
That was his pocket.
But then again, every time this gets released, he'll probably get paid again.
Oh yeah, he still gets royalties, I imagine. Unless
It's like,
that may have been written in the contract, though. If it turned around and said, if you hate the project that much, you can have $1 million, but that's our ties cut altogether, and you might have agreed to that.
It's like a time Star Wars gets released, Alec Guinness' estate gets money. You know what I mean? And Harrison Ford gets money. They all get those. Yeah. What would you do with an overdue depending on your contract?
Well, that's
It
it.
seems that he only sued the producers, though, so this might be where the detail goes into it. So it's not like he sued Universal, so to say, but he sued the producers.
Obviously, Universal had to give them money anyway, just to, you know what I mean, keep everyone sweet. But the score is meant to be like,
Yes.
see you bastards do it.
Again, it's just like Predator and Roger Rabbit. It's the same composer, isn't it? So
Yeah. I love the noise of the DeLorean. Like, I don't think it really makes that noise, but I love the noise of it. Because originally it was supposed to be a fridge, wasn't it? One more finger up the bed.
Yeah. Now there's something I didn't know. A few months after Huey Lewis and the News recorded The Power of Love for the Back to the Future soundtrack, they were asked by Columbia Pictures to write the theme song to Ghostbusters. Loyal to American and Co, they declined.
And then Ray Parker Jr. borrowed some of the samples.
That would be like an iconic Ghostbusters song, which is basically, like I say, inspired mostly.
I forgot what song it is, but it does actually sound like Ghostbusters at the start. It actually sounds like it.
Yeah. But it's like a lot of stuff like that. We're talking about like rights and stuff like that. I mean, the one that always bugs me the most is it was One Direction. They brought a song out, ironically called The Best Song Ever. And the intro is note for note The Who, Bubba Ray Riley. Literally, like if you listen to two by side, they're not even similar. It's note for note. But
you should have sued. You should have sued One Direction because it probably wasn't the best song ever. They're just lying to you.
Well, this is it. That was the irony. But as it happens, the Who apparently turned around and said, "No, we're not bothered." Let me use it.
you want to talk about like using stuff quickly there, guys? Right? It just popped up on like my YouTube on the side there, and it's like, look at this. So some guy's got Lionheart, also known as AWOL, but he's got a thumbnail as Jean-Claude Van Damme from Street Fighter. He has adverts on it, right? And it's had 300,000 views. So, like, definitely sue that guy. Do you know what I mean?
Quite a few grand, isn't it, there?
But that's it. It's like, that's what's fucking... You talk about, like, oh, yeah, you sue... Like, if you're a musician, right? There's only so many notes in so many different things that, you know what I mean? Like, how many talented people are out there who, like, got a notes? Like, there's only a certain amount of notes and a certain amount of orders. Stuff is going to be, like, it's called influence. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I once, like, sat... I'm not going to name the band, but, like, I once sat with this band, and my mate was like, do you realise... No. Like, all they did was took REM's That's Me in the Corner, and they just played the song backwards, and then wrote some notes, and they were your own band, and I'm like, you just... Like, okay, like, again, it's like, it's still going to sound the same, in a way, but again, it's just loads of stuff, like, it's weird.
That's such a generic name in a Peabody.
Yeah. Good job, Peabodies. The bit like, obviously you talked about the NECA figures before. I got to say, I do love a packaging that'll come in, because obviously it's the comic book with the tales of the thingy, the ones just that. Yeah.
Had a really good...
Still haven't got it. I don't think in this country. Say what? I said I don't think we haven't got that one in this country yet, have we?
No, I don't think we have.
I know we've definitely got the Marty from the future, Marty from the present, and I think we've got the Doc Brown.
I've seen the space one not long before the shop shut.
Need more geek in there?
What, in the shop? Alright, okay then. I know they must be doing a third line, surely. They must be doing
Mad Dog.
Back to the Future 3, yeah.
Mad Dog. Nobody calls you Mad Dog. What the hell is that? I love the wifey in the car, which is does that noise. What the hell is that?
Wilbur.
It looks really good, like on the quality, like.
Oh, absolutely. Like, this is literally could have been made like this year. Looks good.
What I've noticed a lot of studios doing now, they do the 4K transfer and 4K disc, and then they reissue again on normal Blu-ray, but obviously the remastered edition of it, which is really good, which is what it should do.
Well, a lot of the films have been scanned in like 6 and 8K, then downsizing it. When we Transformers, when I was watching the extra features, that was like, I think that was scanned in 6K, and like, yeah, now we're going to downplay it, huh?
So on 6K,
No, seriously, like it was like they were on about like they were scanning every frame in, and there was a documentary, and it showed you how the original film was getting passed through, and it was like the 6 rays of different light going through, and it was just downsizing it. So you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's like some of the Marvel films aren't actually in 4K because obviously they were filmed in digital, which is 2K.
Yeah.
And then they just put on a disc, and obviously the disc has got enough space for 4K, so it just basically just buffers it a little bit. That's all. The only true 4K things you can get is actually film that's been on film.
Like
35mm, like Die Hard.
I was on, I think it was Facebook a couple of nights ago, and Kevin Smith was apparently advertising an 8K TV, and he got so much shit, like, with like, it's fucking lockdown, people can't afford stuff, and you're sitting there making money off trying to tell people to spend more money. But then obviously everyone going into technicalities and things going, if you're going to a concert and they've got a big screen, you're going to get the benefit, whereas any TV in your house at this point, you're not really going to get the benefit of 6K, as well as the fact that there's no product, there's nothing out there yet that is in 8K, so it's like you're pretending, but it's like kind of placebo. I think if you give someone a really brand new TV and say 8K, even though it's probably still 4K, people will still sit there and go, oh, it's miles better than the other one.
Yeah, it's just crazy, isn't it? Yeah. I think 4K will be the last, like 8K will just be just whatever's on TV. There's nothing. It's like 3D the other day. Sky had 3D. Come over Sky 3D. It was everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then that disappeared. I was like, what the heck? And now it's all 4K. But then in there, Sky don't normally do things in 4K. It's 4K, but it's like not 2160. It's another format. Like it's just a little bit lower. But still 4K.
There wasn't enough available in 3D. People got bored of it. You know what I mean? It was like there wasn't enough, and like the market and the prices and stuff just didn't.
Sorry, man. It just made me call. Sony announced, the streaming Blu-ray quality, proper Blu-ray quality on Sony Bravia TVs from next year. Just on Sony, Sony. So basically, the people who make Blu-ray are killing their own format off.
Yeah,
for like streaming service. I'm like, but that's Sony though. They get money from everything that happens.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, like, maybe it's just the hoping to ride the wave of people just doing whatever they want to do, especially when it comes to streaming, because the bottom line is, I mean, like I say, you can have Sony, Disney Plus, Netflix, put out the best in the world. At the end of the day, though, comes down to your net, it comes down to what you're available in your area, stuff like that. So they're not lying by saying, I'm giving you this at the best quality. I mean, my internet speed at best is 35. The reality is, I know other people who have way higher than that, but for what I use it for, I have no idea what benefit of having over 35 in internet speed would be.
I mean, look what happened just before this podcast, though. Paul's internet went down, and Paul's watching this on through the television, but his internet wasn't working. So do you know what I mean? It's kind of
you lose it all.
You do.
What about what about all those people who invested in digital codes and stuff like that? All those websites are pretty much gone.
Yeah. I always looked at this gang on 3D glasses. Oh, there's Billy Zane. I was skipping Billy Zane. I did actually pick up a pair of 3D glasses, right? The red and blue ones, just for like a display on my shelf.
I think you get the original ones like that in the Friday the 13th Blu-ray, part 3 one. But who's the one with the 3D glass on? I'm sure he's someone, isn't he?
It's called 3Ds. I don't know.
I'm sure. I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm sure he's actually someone like well-known artist. Those are reasons.
Billy Zane's there, but who was the guy in the yellow? I recognise him. The guy in the yellow top.
Can have a look.
Isn't he from Karate Kid? No, it's not. No. But Billy Zane, though. I mean, Billy Zane, man, come on.
Nah, I tell you, you're thinking of Karate Kid 3, aren't you?
Yeah.
Get his name
Yeah.
now.
The guy with the 3D
Like
glasses
Barnes.
on looks like the guy from The Big Bang Theory, but it's not. I would say definitely not.
Yeah,
Definitely
no.
not.
Casey Samasco. Let's have a look. What have you done? Alright, okay. So he was Charlie Bowdry in the Young Guns. He was Billy Tessio from Stand By Me.
There we go. That's it, yeah. Stand By Me.
That's it,
One of
yeah.
their group.
And
The
the
thing
last role was a voice called Wobble in 2018, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah. The thing is, Crispin Glover's hair, in 1950s. I'm sure 2 years ago that was back in fashion.
Oh,
Well, the
Stick to the sides. You stick to the sides and a bit of a shave to the right, yeah.
if you shaved the sides, it was kind of Peaky Blinders thing.
Right. I need to ask for that.
Have you got a name on the side? Or you let it grow out?
I don't know. My brother's my hairdresser these days.
I was desperately need to get my hair cut.
Ting ting, he's on his bike. Ting ting. Is he hasn't even had his bloody Pepsi, man. Mind you, I do love Marty's watch. It's a Casio calculator one.
Yeah.
I used to have one in school. Body warmers? You don't see body warmers anymore now, do you?
I've got a body warmer. I bought one last year.
Now, this is actually slightly downrated on IMDb now. The last 128 views.
Yeah, it's Paul Ray, Sex Pest.
Whatever. There he is.
Up a fucking tree with some binoculars.
But I'm grinding that branch, isn't he?
Not using the binocular effect though, like normally.
No, they're not.
Good. Apparently, the person's house, who's a tree outside, they can climb a tree, but you kind of take a photograph of a person's house, if you know what I mean. They're really weird for stuff like that.
You know,
Seems
like
like
do that anyway, Paul.
Oh yeah, you know what I mean.
No? So you're essentially saying that you want to climb the tree and take a picture of someone's house? Window? Upstairs?
Well, the house. That means, this is the Back to the Future house.
Right, okay, I'm with you. Oh, and now he's officially called Carlton.
I mean, that's it. Like, if you're anyone who decides to move into the Edward Scissorhands or the Up House or anything like that, and they go, "Why is everyone taking a fucking picture of us?" Like, did you realise it's a famous house on location? It's like the Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
I would imagine that was the reason why people bought the house.
Well, like the house what used at Bel Air's up in Beverly Hills, and like you go past it, and it's just like on the corner. There's no fucking barrier around it. It's just there, and like this house is so close to it, and obviously it's all on a set. But it's a weird one.
Yeah.
Like,
Didn't Disney turn us down because of the kiss in the car with his mum and him? I'm sure Disney went, "No, we're not making this film."
Yeah. I wouldn't
And me
surprise
too.
us.
If I got hit by a car and some girl took my pants off, it won't be Calvin Klein's, it'd be from B&M, mate.
Paul,
Put it this way,
yours
people
are probably
think I'm
held together with
George.
duct tape. Yours these
Say
day and
what?
age, Paul Ray.
What?
Yours are probably stitched together with fucking duct tape, and that you're that cheap.
It's because I get different sizes every freaking 2 weeks, that's fine.
She's a proper fucking perv, isn't she? Like, that's part of like a little sex fest.
That's what I love her for. For what? Because obviously the thing she goes, I can't stand girls who chase boys. I would never do anything like that. And obviously she is when she's younger.
Time travel is one of these things everyone dreams could happen, but like when you just look at the butterfly effect of what it could be, again, it's like as long as you like there's certain laws I think you've got to follow in it. Like when you're writing a film, because I think that's what's really good about the second and third when they sort of start revisiting this and then going back and like it gets. Do you know what I mean? Have anyone ever seen Predestination with Ethan Hawke?
No. Predestination, nah, don't think so.
That film will burn your brain trying to work that time travel out. Like fucking hell.
Well, it's one of those things which I quite appreciate.
Isn't that the man from the Gremlins, isn't it?
Yeah. I think so.
Huh? No. It's not the dad from Gremlins.
No, the mum.
The mum, alright, sorry. But there's your Melvin from Tremors and Windy Years.
Is that Melvin from Tremors, is it? It is, isn't it?
So that's who Melvin's parents are?
Ah!
We finally found out.
Two TVs, 1985. He's got way too much money.
Mason, she Back to the Future. She Lynn Petzler in Gremlins, her mother. She'd also in Footloose, and she'd also in Stand By Me.
She's the mum in Stand By Me as well. With our mate, you know, the guy from Total Recall.
Yeah.
So is that the kid? Is that Melvin from Tremors?
I'm checking now. 2 seconds.
It's got
It looks like him. Come on, bloody thing. Keep talking, guys.
I was going to say, because, what's his name?
Robert Jane. Oh, no, I don't think it is. It looks like him, though.
It does look like him.
I always thought it was.
A good
No,
old-
it mustn't be. I always thought it was.
I was going to say, a very likeness about him.
Oh, I'm getting mixed up. He was in Different Strokes, man. That's where he was in. Duh. At the Windy Years. Why not? No. But it looks like him, no.
It does.
I think it's the nose.
The fact that he's called Melvin. Melvin.
I'll go boy.
Bye, Paul.
I'm old, remember?
Bless his cotton top. Didn't I get that wrong? It says 1640 as the address, but I'm sure it's 1642 or something like that.
Oh, Paul's gone now. He's gone for a danger wank in the middle of the podcast. There's a first for everything. Christopher Lloyd is back again.
Good to Judge Doom.
Great.
Now I know it's almost like swearing, but if it was done right, do you think there's a place in the world for a Doc Brown prequel of sorts?
I mean, it's a very complex story. I mean, you still want to talk about, like, great nods to the head, though. Him turning up in A Million Ways to Die in the West, it's class, like.
Yeah, well, that's it, exactly. I feel like, because obviously this is clearly his highlight of his kind of Doc Brown career, but I reckon if you did, like, a Netflix series, almost like a mini-series, so, like, say, 6 episodes, and maybe just have like just his run up to get in there. So like maybe do some wacky inventions and use some like classic practical effects and stuff like that.
What's this?
A Doc Brown prequel.
No? I was remembering the animated TV show, Back to the Future, the TV show, where actually had Christopher Lloyd as a live action at the start or at the end, about the story, about friendships and what they learned in the film, in the cartoon, I should say.
Never loved the cartoon. I watched it.
Yeah.
Not something I wouldn't call it like one of the animation classics of my childhood.
Yeah. It was like that. It was that. A Little Shop of Horrors had an animated cartoon, but it was like a French-Canadian one.
Yeah.
I did like the figures that they bring out, the cartoon figures, like, but not for like 12 pop each, like name point.
I think they're going to be one of those ones that might drop down a price or two.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, obviously the NECA ones are quite popular. Although, like, when I go on YouTube, I tend to, because I can't afford stuff now, since I'm broke, so I tend to watch other people buy stuff and it makes me feel better. But, like, literally every single, like, about 3 or 4, they different channels, but they all kind of do a similar thing. And they just go, like, it's in America, so they're going to Walmart, Target, and all these places to buy figures. And to be honest with you, the radioactive suit Mario from NECA is like not it's not that popular. There's always like loads on the shelf, but like at this point in time, when you watch some more common releases, you can see that shop's just on stock and back up.
I watch Laura Legends. She collects like figures, like movie figures and stuff. But it's more like the figures are like the ones like a movies ones, but like the ones I used to have as a kid, if you know what I mean. Yeah. The ones I would never have as a kid. That's what I like you guys really.
Well, they remarketed, didn't they? Like, obviously, you got all these classic He-Man coming back out and stuff like that.
I've actually pre-ordered He-Man. I think it's coming tomorrow. I couldn't say no. It's not 7, but proper Mattel. Yeah, it's Origins because it's done by the original mold and the original artwork and stuff. But something I have as a kid, I'm trying to pick up little things, but like a little display, like a memory kind of thing. That's what I got me Kermit the Frog for.
Yeah.
I'll pass it up. It's a flip thing.
Now, it's quite an interesting thing, this, because this was a hell of a time to be to go to the cinema, like. So, I'm just going to go off, like, the biggest one that was released beforehand. So, on Friday, the 29th of November, 1985, we got the cinematic release of a film called The Goonies. And then, I know, same weekend, though, we get Santa Claus the movie. Dudley Moore.
Oh, awesome.
Classic.
That's much
then
better.
You get, some would say, Underworld, which I'm not familiar with off the top of my head. There's no picture, so that was all one weekend. And then the weekend after, on the 4th of December 1985, we have Back to the Future.
Alright.
And then on the 6th, we had a film called Turtle Diary. Then we got Legend come out on the 13th of December. And then, of course, another Michael J. Fox film came out on the 20th of December 1985. Do you want to take a guess?
Secret of My Success.
Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf.
Oh, yeah.
It's because he fit in Teen Wolf first, but he didn't have a big name to him yet. So
they held off to him.
They held off put on. What other films came out in 1985? Or 84, 85? Top of the two.
We've got Mad Max Thunderdome, Cocoon, Rambo Part 2. Rambo First Blood Part 2.
First Blood Part 2,
Rambo
Rambo First Blood 2. Rambo.
Rambo 2.
One of my favourite comedies of all time, and it's probably not one of the biggest known ones either, Brewster's Millions.
I love Brewster's Millions. I got Beatty to watch that at work a few weeks ago.
It's a mint, it's John Candy, it's just everything you want. Richard
Pryor is in it for 2 seconds. It's awesome.
Yeah. We also have Police Academy 2, their first assignment. Let's see, just going down the list. Never Ending Story, which I think we definitely have to do on our podcast now. The Breakfast Club.
Never heard of it.
Some teen film. Beverly Hills Cop, and the first film to be released in January 11th, 1985 was it's a small horror film called The Terminator.
Never heard of it.
So I reckon 1985 was a pretty good year. Sadly, I'm about 12 months from being born at that point, so eventually I'll catch up.
Was Temple of Doom not? Oh, Temple of Doom was 84, wasn't it?
84, yeah.
Ghostbusters, that's to get mixed up on. Yeah. Let's send you back, feature boy. See, for me, I mean, I don't mind the first one, but the second one has so much stuff. You know what I mean? Scenes and it has so many things to look at. This, it's very, not basic, but it's just dead simple, isn't it?
Well, it was weird, the second
the
one.
only part of the film that no one would ever recite in it. No one's going to tell you about this scene. It's a good scene, and it's important, but no one ever talks about it to them.
Sending them back to the future. Listen, you're back, buddy.
We're going back to the thing as well. Robert Zemeckis and all that were wanting a bit more money to do the second and third because of the schedule and that, and Universal were like, if you're not going to do it, we'll get somebody else to do it. So they weren't like I think they had a lot of creative license just to get stuff done, and like, yeah, whatever, get it done. That was kind of like that's what I've got from like the commentary tracks and stuff you get on these.
Wasn't Bob Gale owns all the rights to it. Bob Gale, he owns every single thing, rights to this film, these films, because he wrote it. So he did a deal where only he can, write it and he basically looks after it. But the 2 and 3 they shot back to back, didn't they? Because at the end of Back to the Future 2 was a trailer for Back to the Future 3.
That's right.
But then at the end of its film, it goes on to Back to the Future 2, but when you made the pictures, that wasn't happening, because obviously it wasn't greenlit. It was just finished at the end.
So did it not have to be continued?
No, it was only added on. It was only added on when it did the second film, and that's why they had to refilm the ending of it.
Yeah.
Again.
I've got to say though, and I would never have it done in real life, but have you that one clip there where they're looking at him like there now, where he's saying maybe you're adopted? There is a deep fake of that with Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Holland, and I sit there and think, you know what it is? I don't know. I wouldn't ask for it, but if it got put out there, they've got good chemistry.
No, they're just being about Iron Man saving the bloody place again. No. Deep fakes. Was it like 2021 or something?
Yeah. When the world changed, man. Imagine this. You're gonna have John Wayne coming back to do Transformers 22.
Yeah. Fuck off.
Skywalker being in a TV show or something. I mean, bloody hell.
Yeah. But no, I mean, you still got that old-time conversation, haven't you? Like, the way technology's going. Like, the thing with deepfakes that worries me is the fact that, I can't personally do it, but, someone with a standard computer can do that. So it just makes you wonder, if you basically look at what's behind the scenes in terms of technology. It's just, it is getting to a point where there's literally there's no limit, is there?
The thing is, now you can make a film on your phone. I mean, Apple showed all the time on the adverts, don't it?
Well, they did it. I forget what you call it now. There was a film released about 2 years ago. It was literally cinematic release and everything, and the entire thing was shot on an iPhone.
I believe that. It's just scary, technology.
Yeah. And then the only thing they haven't getting right, mind, is the deepfakes and stuff like that. They haven't quite mastered doing it with people moving. If you notice, whenever it worked really well, the person stood quite still. Or leaning on a wall or something like that. So that's the only thing they haven't really been able to master it yet. So we're still away yet. But I just think when it comes to actors and stuff like that, it's going to be imagine an actor getting a phone call saying, "Do you want to be in this film? We'll pay you this much." Oh, but you don't actually have to be there.
Yeah.
Just sign your name on the dotted line, and we'll use your face for this film, and that's it. Paycheck without even trying.
Or even deceased actors like Elvis and stuff like that, just saying the rights over it, done dusted.
Well, the thing is, how do you get away with that now, though? If the person who has deceased maybe didn't have
it gets passed down.
A family tie, does it? So, an estate of some sort.
Someone buys the estate. Someone buys the estate, like a Mike Ashley. Or stuff ends up becoming public domain.
nowadays, there's probably a lot of actors now have already got it written in the wills and stuff like that, haven't they? They'll have people like little details saying, oh, you know, for the right of using my song or my name or my bass. It's all in contracts these days. It's really bugging us that his Christian Glover's hair it needs to be moved to one side, that one strand.
Do you want to put your hands through his head and just flick it back for him?
I would, mate. If I was sitting there right now with Marty McFly, I'd say, hold on, lad, 2 seconds. Swift it over and say, there you go, boys. Yeah.
Oh.
Does someone not like the silence?
I know, it's kind of like some quite long...
podcast. It needs to be nice.
Yeah, it's just because quite a lot of... I don't know, like a lot of slowing down the pace in the middle of the movie than I remember, like.
I mean, this is going to be a sexual harassment case. For sure.
The best 80s movie to have a scene in the tea room, I think it's Heathers, when he just walks up and just gets his gun out, fires blanks. Christian said him, and it's like, fucking hell.
Still haven't seen that film.
It's mint.
I'm just saying, Thomas F. Wilson is absolutely awesome, like, isn't he? You know what I mean? He's such a great character actor. Make like or make a tree and get out of here.
Yeah, make out a tree and get out of here.
but he can play Griffmint. He can play old Biffmint. You know what I mean? He can do it all right.
Well, you won the character, didn't you? By that point, you literally had no reason not to have him do the role.
No, he's awesome. The shame he hasn't done anything else. He does a lot of conventions, and him and Leah Thompson are still best mates. Like,
yeah, very much pals.
Because for years,
he does like stand up, but didn't he do like stage shows and that?
Oh, he did that song. Oh my god, he did that song. Goes, people ask me about Michael J. Fox. I say he's all right. He does like a song about all the questions that asked them. He does into a song. It's awesome. But for years, he said no to autographs and signing. But then Leah Thompson got him into it, and he's there like all the time now, just doing them. But I think he's more like an artist now, like.
Well, from 2001 to 2019, he was a dog walker, or at least one of his characters was a dog walker. He was involved in SpongeBob SquarePants.
Alright, awesome.
And 2018 to 2019, he was on a project called Three Below, Tales of Arcadia. The Epic Tales of Captain Underpants.
Oh, Captain Underpants is mint.
Wizard, and his last role to date, 2020, was NCIS, Naval Criminal Investigation Service.
It's $1 billion of them.
I bet you hate being a bloody, in, what you call it? Drawing a blank. X-Files.
Oh, yeah. No, probably not. That's standards.
Actually, I haven't seen anyone in X-Files in this yet, like. Billy Zane was probably in the X-Files.
Can I ask a question? I want to get a bottle of Pepsi or Coke in a bloody bottle. I can't find them anywhere. Like a glass one, I can't find them bloody anywhere.
Glass one? You normally find them at buffets and stuff like that. Your sushi does bottle of Coke.
Nothing Coleman's.
Oh, I mean, like right now. Yeah. Oh, right, okay, right now. It's like, well, what's the difference? Are you like saving the planet and then we'll use Blacker?
No, because I love like 1950s kind of like glass kind of 1950s kind of look. You know what I mean? I used to have like a breakfast set was like with Coca-Cola. I was like a 1950s kind of like set. I had like a coaster, I had straws and stuff, but had a tray and stuff, and obviously I lost that. So I'm not either. Like some Pepsi. Anyway.
Thomas F. Wilson, this is actually relatively early in his career. His first role was in 1984. He was on Knight Rider. A character called Chip. And then he did The Facts of Life, a guy called Moose, and then he did Los Angeles Street Fighter, which was a member of Spike's gang. And after that, he went into Back to the Future, so he's quite good looking, really.
I love those 1950s diners. The 1950s diners. There used to be one in Phoenix, like 1950s.
I was just about to say, yeah, I remember the one that was in Phoenix. Huh?
Well, like Ed's Easy Diner.
Yeah.
I'm on the toilet. My turn.
Alright.
Well, obviously it was a classic case of you have to, like, we went to one in America, and it was like a proper cheesy diner like this, where like you had the little radios on the table so you could play your own music.
Yeah.
And then I think, like, I don't know how it worked, whether someone triggered it or something like that, but they ended up having like a bit where like all the waiters and waitresses started doing a dance on the bar.
Oh, I would hate that. I hate those ones.
It's one of those things, yeah. I think when you're there with a tourist, it's like, alright, okay, this is the gimmick. But
when you go back to Newcastle and someone does it, it's good.
People jumping on the bar and climbing all over the place, that's just a night in Newcastle.
Or someone just jumping on a Greg's table, 5 o'clock in the morning, because over 24 hours.
Yeah,
I think it's
no stick pics.
Is it this bit? At the back is everybody's got a punch thingy. Is it this bit? Yeah, I can't remember now. There's a scene where
you have to describe that better, mate.
no, it's just there's a scene where like it's the back of Marty's head, but it's actually Eric Stoltz, and I just
right. It may be. It did not. Could have been that bit where he pushes everyone out of the way and runs out of shot.
No. It was just like the back of his head. It wasn't his body. It was just like the back of his head. Because Thomas L. Wilson, I remember doing a certain scene with Michael J. Fox, and then obviously his head's a bit different. But anyway,
yeah.
I love this bit. Like a skateboard man.
I know.
See what films like Ghostbusters have like first act, second act, third act is exactly the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now Back to the Future kind of has the same kind of thing, doesn't it? Especially one and two. First act, second act, third
almost
act.
reused scenes, yeah.
That's it, yeah. But then again, it works for Back to the Future because it's like a family. It's like it's only like a time place, isn't it? When Biff goes in the future, goes something's very very familiar about this. It's a bit where Marty Jr.'s on the hoverboard, so obviously stuff does react itself. But that actually works for Back to the Future. But for Ghostbusters, it's first something happens, investigate, we go on the montage, something big comes along, Stay Puft, Statue of Liberty. I mean, but this is kind of works well. The only thing that doesn't happen is obviously in the third one, it's the frisbee, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Aye, that's it. Yeah. The thing is, though, like, and it's not a dig at it, but the thing about this is obviously it looked great, but to me, obviously not one that like using the cities, like buildings and stuff like that, but like this particular setting here, I can see this as like the 50s as well as the modern, as long as the future as well.
Yeah.
I feel like they're very similar. Like they are similar because it's the same place basically. But obviously they're ridiculously more modern because it's in the future and stuff like that. But it always felt similar to me. Like I say, well, yeah, they're in the same place. It's just a different version of it, which works for the film.
Yeah.
But when you're basically talking about reusing the same scenes, I think as an older viewer, it's one of those things that stand out a little bit more.
Yeah, but except for like these two films, it works well because it's just time repeating itself. Really, you know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm saying. In the story, that's what they wanted. Like if they didn't mention the fact that he was in the same location, and they was in the same like kind of area, just minus the time difference, it would be terrible because you'd be sitting there going, "Well, I haven't got any imagination here. I'm just using the same set, just dressing it up."
Does that the camcorder is connected to the TV? Is that through RC to aerial? What I can't tell.
Yeah, it looked like it, didn't it? Right?
It's RC, which is your red and white, or your yellow and white, or whatever, your audio and visual going to the TV. But there's another plug in it. But I don't think they had those around in them days, unless Doc just made something so you could actually watch it.
I mean, it's viable. It's viable what he's up to, like he is.
Well, I can hear you both fighting over trying to who wants to talk to us.
I'm saying it's viable, like, because of his office in the background, that he'd be able to jack in a camcorder to the telly.
Yeah. I just think the input will only be the RF, just as much as an aerial.
Yeah.
And it's just change the signal over. I don't know, I'm not a nerd. Ugh. And again, then, this is repeated, really, isn't it, in the third one?
Yeah.
Without the fire? Oh no, it starts the fire one. I can't remember.
There's still on the fire, yeah.
Yeah. And like he goes, this is my model, it's not to scale. And he goes, yeah, it's alright. I didn't have time to paint it and stuff like that.
Yeah, he still went out of his way to put the metal rod on the back, which is...
Yeah.
One back to Christopher Lloyd, like he's never looked young, has he?
Nah, I think when you, if you imagine his hair there and then little just comb it, that's essentially what he looks like when he's not in like character. And he's just being Christopher Lloyd.
I tell you what,
How
he's
much
really
did-
good in Dennis. He's mint in Dennis.
Oh, you don't want him in that with Leah Thompson also?
All connected, all friends.
Who directed that? Was it The Shape from
Oh,
Was it shit?
Nick Castle, aye. Nick Castle directed it. aye.
Yeah. He also did The Boy Who Could Fly. Never castigated from there. And Jerry Goldsmith did the music to Dennis. See? One big universe. One big podcast universe.
Good old fire extinguisher.
Yeah, essentially a bucket of water.
An upside down one.
Yeah.
So, go faster.
Oh, it may look like that, but it did. It's got a handle on the top or on the base.
Being on the top, he actually holding upside down, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And there's a thingy image you come out. Oh, I found you, Calvin. Obviously, I would get a fake ones called like Kevin Klein fake pants made with it. Just a simple few quid.
That's it. There's now worse when your boxer shorts rip and your balls are hanging down, like.
Especially when your friend picks you from work and just throws them around the place on the shoulders, doing wrestling moves.
Well, it could be worse. You could end up being called Commando.
I'll do it next time. Yeah. It's funny because I talk about go back to figures again. There wasn't actually much toys out for Back to the Future, was there, when it first came in pictures? Don't think there was any toys out.
It was a boom. It was all like.
Not like Star Wars.
Again, this is a kind of film that finds its cult following from home video and television. Again, VHS was not massive, but it was around and was coming in like, you know what I mean. This is one like an original VHS era. That you know.
Yeah.
Is that what VHS would cost like 80 quid to buy a film?
I suppose the closest you'll have gotten, you might have gotten like a micro machine, mightn't you?
Oh, mint.
That would have been like.
It's one thing I've never
toy.
agreed with the cover though as well. I always think Christopher Lloyd should be on the original cover standing next to him, but it's always just Michael J. Fox standing there, isn't it?
Mind you, I think I don't mind it because the first one's just Metal J. Fox, the second one it's him and Doc, and the third one, bloody Clara, bloody she does my head in. I mean, where's Jennifer? Was she not in the second one? No, she was only half the film, like, but still. You know what I mean? Was Einstein in there?
You know what it is, though? I would argue and say I would appreciate it because of that reason. Because I think if it was made today, it would have nearly every single character. They'll all be floating heads, and it would just be busy.
Big photographs.
Yeah.
But there were Juice in, weren't there?
Aye.
Big influence.
So all I can find, mate, I've just had a quick look, and all I can find is that Back to the Future, even though on the box, it was Back to the Future 3. The only thing I can find is original McDonald toys.
Yeah.
But
Back to the Future 3 even had that had the video game on the Mega Drive and stuff. Back to the Future 3.
Oh, it was so hard.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. I had the LCD, those little LCD games. I had one.
Yeah. I was one of that.
Was it a green one, the Turtles one? And you never saw us. Like, I had the same one.
Yeah.
But it was like, oh my god, kids won't know what it is these days. It was just like, it wasn't even LCD or anything like that. It was really bad.
Well, if you were anywhere near sunlight, you couldn't see anything.
I'd say, yeah, and put 4 batteries in, will last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Great storm tonight.
TV sign in the background.
It was Konami.
You had, I'll tell you what I was wanting to buy. I never got around to them. They looked at like the quirky, those vinyl idols. Didn't you have them in?
Yeah, the stretchy ones. Yeah, by like Hot Buzz. And this was 8 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was like Funko's next thing, wasn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. I remember they did a Marty with the camcorder.
Yeah.
Doc with the controller.
Oh, they're like dogs.
Yeah, I think because the Ghostbusters ones were quite good as well. Like
The like stretchy ones, but they said it was when Funko were doing something brand new. And they did nothing. The stylized ones, yeah, you're right.
And Mason, what you end up buying, which it's funny this, because I think, what was it that you bought? You bought something from B-More Geek ages and ages ago, and I remember looking at it and it was in my hand.
Oh, the Turtles.
Do I buy it? I had a little Turtles eye, so the little turtle, I had them in my hand. I thought, nah, I'll be good. I'll not get like 2 days later you bought them. But then a similar thing happened because I was literally going to buy the Pop Funko Tower that was in game, and you end up buying that, didn't you?
Oh yeah, it's in Brixton.
Yeah.
Right.
So I still need to pick that up. I love that, but I just thought at the time, I thought, I couldn't quite justify the cost, and I just left it. And then I thought, Mason bought one of them, and I think I remember going into the game not long afterwards, going, the bastard is gone.
Well, I was happy that I bought the Turtles thing, but I haven't seen them since, and I haven't seen them that cheap that I got them. So again, at the time, it's just like, oh, shouldn't I? But then again, it's like, it's just I've never seen it any cheaper.
Nah.
Because obviously, they released the Back to the Future Pops, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like a newer version, like Back to the Future 2 one with Future Marty.
Yeah, the hoverboard and that. Did anyone ever see that the video Tony Hawk's and Moby and all that did? When they were like, oh, the hoverboard's finally real, and they were just in this car park. And
Yeah.
What was that about?
Everyone thought it was real, didn't they? Yeah.
Yes, the last scene. I think Disney read the script and went, no, we do family films here.
Well, yeah, because if you looked at the script, literally it would probably have Marty making out with his mum in the car, yeah.
These days, Disney would have made it. These days, I mean, because obviously at the time Disney was just family, that's it. But now Disney's like Mason says, got finger in all the pies now.
But that's it. It's just like the people have just decided to wise on, and like it's the same when Disney bought Fox. Everyone was screaming saying, they're going to go mental because Deadpool is going to be PG and all this and the other. I think it's just, they've all realised now, it's just like, no, all it is you market it right. Make sure that if it's marketed correctly, it's no different to a YouTube channel having a disclaimer at the beginning saying this is not for children.
Yeah.
It's just like, simple as. Just because you do like an hour film, it doesn't mean you're bad.
Like said with Stars happening next month, I should call it something else. I mean, like Fox Stars or something like that.
I think a rebrand would be a smart idea.
Yeah, but I think that's going to do so well for Disney. Like,
oh, definitely. It's a whole new catalogue, isn't it?
Yeah, 71 billion to pay for Fox. Obviously, they need money back somehow.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be a money maker. Let us say easy.
Man, you're so big. Like the second one. He looks at her. It's funny because
she's a bit like, to be fair,
Oh yeah, Leah Thompson. They said she even makes up ducks, man. I'm definitely gonna look me if I'm looking.
No, there's a controversial one, like how the duck when she's like.
I remember watching that and not having any issue whatsoever. Like I was just like, let it get on with it. You know,
No, I did actually say that when I seen this film. This is Casper's Bible. This film programmed Mark Abbott to his lifestyles and everything. But when I watch Howard the Duck, I just see Casper. Like I cannot unsee Casper. Like it's just terrifying.
But I'm not even gonna go there. I don't want to go there. But there is two versions of How to Duck, a PG one and a 15 one. And obviously it's cut out like the shower scene that the duck at a storm having a bath with her duck boobs.
Duck boobs. See, I like this though. This is where the writing's really clever, because like I say, the kind of putting it out there, like, you know, it could have been easily like a seedy scene, but the fact that like instinct kick in and suddenly, hold on a minute, this doesn't feel right, and it's not supposed to, you know what I mean?
I
forgot to mention this, but this was one of the few 2020 films that I actually saw at the cinema.
On the first.
It was a nice rerun, yeah.
Well, looky what we got here. This is a sexual harassment case right here.
This is just rape culture. Yeah.
And the 3D guys just took his glasses to have a little look. They must kill his eyes, wearing them all the time. Well, I remember buying the real Ghostbusters magazine when I used to collect the real Ghostbusters as a kid. And like one or two issues would be like 3D at the back, and you get glasses with them. And they made it. It's like, oh my god, look at this! This is amazing.
Yeah.
The red and blue one.
I love that. Like,
doesn't he see it?
You know, they're obviously getting high.
Something racist.
Reef addicts, yeah.
I'm sure he says something rude. No, I'm not even going to say it.
I guess it seems almost over. You're going to have to tell us.
That's alright.
Are you going to do that in the director's cut?
Yeah. Get your goddamn hands up off. Huh?
It's the winding up. It's like the.
Yeah.
With his finger pointing. Just walk away.
I mean, it's very dark, though, isn't it? Like, he's literally raping her. And it's just like, it's supposed to be like, oh yeah, just a scene.
So you have to stand up for yourself to do.
Well, I mean, everyone's had a moment where they had to.
I remember Paul Ray's moment when he fucking I hired a pen at him once and it hit him perfectly in the head and he was like, right, that's it, and just walked across and started going. It's like, calm down, Paul.
Punching him. I was
What did he do? Start wanking or something?
No, I just took this pen and it couldn't hit him any perfectly in the head and it was hilarious, but Paul was just like, right, that's it, I'm having you.
And then I punched him after I wanked him off. Be different.
Here we go.
With these guns now. Oosh.
I have the power. Wait,
Then obviously the second one. In the second one, they see him again there, but there's a stunt guy from the back filming.
Well, yeah, it's really clever though. It's like attention to detail. It's like.
Because you never once see his face in the second one, because you'd have to pay him again, wouldn't it? So it's like a double guy at the back. Body double.
I think she's moist, boys.
Wow.
I'm not surprised after Biff. What?
Well, if you weren't going to add anything to the scene, you know.
Stop, raise up, boy. Do. I remember listening to the soundtrack because it's like one of this and another score, isn't it? That's on the soundtrack. The proper various soundtrack, not the score. It's the theme tune, and it's this theme, isn't it? The bit where Doc's trying to get the cable to go down later on, then see.
Yeah.
But I love it. Oh, I love Earth Angel. I love that song. Dum, do, do, do. Oh, good old 50s there. Oh, it was this is in them days, the pandemics and stuff.
Well, there was the war. There was the big wars and stuff going on.
Now we could actually leave your house, couldn't you? I love this bit, yeah, it just goes all quiet, it goes like the bit where he's being forced away from the rain. It's like it's not over yet, I mean there's still a chance.
There's always a chance.
And I'm sure this is not really Marty's hand either in front of him. A bit of a special effect.
What, David Bowie in the fucking floating glasses again?
That's so big. His arms, like, it's not even in front of him. It's in front of him, but it's not where it should be. His arms are weird, isn't it? Shoulders, not very long.
The disappearing man. Disappearing, what you want from him?
Oh, the bit where he just...
Everyone's out to reappear tonight, like, Jesus Christ. No means no.
This is just 1950s rape culture.
Caveman style, you're mine.
Yeah. So just work into some notes I had, and I know there's some slightly older point, but when you were talking about ages, so Michael J. Fox is 10 days younger than Leigh Thompson, but he's almost 3 years older than Crispin Glover.
Wasn't he 30 or something?
He's 3 years older, that's all I've got.
Alright. He's one of those guys that's always look young. You know what I mean? Like Doc Hollywood. When you look like a teenager in Doc Hollywood, he's like 30 something.
Yeah.
But then you get Mark Hamill looks young in the first one, and then the other two Star Wars films, and especially now he looks old as anything.
Well, you know why though, don't you?
Oh yeah. It's because he had a car accident, didn't he? So that have that excuse for him to have plastic surgery, so let's set a bomber attack them.
Yeah,
that's written in. But yeah, Michael J. Fox looks young throughout his career.
Yeah.
Bit like me. I look young all the time. I get IED sometimes, putting the lottery on.
You play the lottery?
No.
No. I don't know anyone who plays the lottery, do.
Every time I put it on, I go, right, gotta check, it'll be like, not one number. Here we go. And
again, then this isn't even Michael J. Fox singing, is it? It's another guy who sounds like him.
Yeah, well.
I've seen Mitch play this live before, like at a Christmas party. Just rock this out and playing the guitar over his head and stuff like that.
I remember Telltale Games that came a few years ago, and had a guy who was like a voice actor who did such a good job of playing Moy.
I remember the Back to the Future game because I was always hoping that they would bring the Jurassic Park one out, but they didn't bother.
It's like a comic book game, isn't it? Like a click and point kind of thing. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a guy who did a really good voice of Michael J. Fox. Smarty. You know, later the voice kind of breaks kind of thing.
Casper definitely like gets a little and then again here, like, here, check this out. Is this like a reference to, like, you know what I mean?
Cousin Marvin.
Casper definitely plays like with his broom doing that. Have you guys ever seen Pleasantville?
Oh, I love that film.
Tobey Maguire.
Spider-Man.
Paul Walker?
Tackleberry's in it. From Police Academy, isn't he?
Yeah, Paul Walker's in it as well, and it's like...
Who's the lass in it again?
Reese Witherspoon.
I know what.
Reese Witherspoon's out.
I may watch it again tonight, actually. If I'm fancy something to watch tonight, I may watch it tonight.
Just watch WandaVision, man. The same thing.
Not for 220 million. Boring.
And like everyone's just deadpanning. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Mr. Strickland just hasn't changed, does he? Marty, that was the precious music.
What kind of witchcraft is this?
I wonder how many times I've seen this film now. Like, you know, like, in general, like, since I was a kid, how many times? It's weird.
I reckon I'm probably in double figures, like.
Oh,
yeah.
Me and Paul's in quadruple figures. It was on at work, man. I just constantly see the same scene. Doesn't matter, the whole film's playing through on a constant loop. You always look up and it's always the same scene. You're like, how is that possible?
Yeah. When I worked in the Empire, it was Final Destination 3. I think or two before. I seen the beginning of it, the middle of it, and the end of it. You know what I mean? But not the in-betweens. And I remember, because when I used to work in there, I used to go, you know, in the screens to make sure anyone's making a mess, just sit down and, you know, tidy up after people. It was awesome.
You mean you used to go in there and sit down for 5 minutes?
And then watch the film. But you didn't know what's going on. You get sick of seeing the same scenes again and again and again.
I mean, is it ever acknowledged that the fact that, you know, his family get together and all that, and like they get old and they go, hang on, doesn't our son now look like that guy who helped us like get together that time? You ever think that was a conversation they had?
Well, I mean, it's flawed in a sense because, I mean, I'm sure, I might be wrong once I see it again, but I'm sure the timing way off on this, like where he's supposed to have like 2 minutes and then the scene takes about 10 minutes to get through. Yeah. So like, we're going to get like little details like that and it's like,
it's like when people jump up in water and have a swim, but it's only for 30 seconds, but they left like 2 minutes having a swim in the water and then they'll dry at the same time to see how long it would take. It was like, nah, like Alien Resurrection would go in the water to go underneath the things, or like Poseidon Adventure. Nah, I didn't get. But
have you seen the remake of Poseidon Adventure?
Oh yeah, I love it.
Like when Kurt Russell, I hadn't seen that when Kurt Russell drowns. It's like, fuck me, that was a bit graphic.
Oh. Richard Dreyfuss is also in it. If I can talk. The bit obviously before when Marty goes, when you have a son, if he makes I don't know, like burns a rug or sets fire or something, don't go hard on him. And obviously when that happens, wouldn't they go, hang on, didn't he say that from 1955? You know what I mean? Wouldn't they like just kind of like be weird?
yeah, a bit, yeah.
I mean, imagine if there what direction that would take. Oh yeah, don't tell him off for setting the rug on fire. So they didn't, and he burnt down the fucking house. I mean, it's just like, well, you should have told them not to do it.
Well, there's always a question at the end of this film that I'll ask when it's done.
Yeah. But I tell you, out of like, obviously Eric Stoltz meant to be playing Marty, and then it was obviously Michael J. Fox, but there's another guy out there, I reckon, who probably could have done a really good job of this. John Cusack.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It's the right timing for him, and he always played that kind of teenage kid, so like, he's essentially, if you go back and watch some of his 80s stuff, he's essentially playing just a teenage kid in Martin McFly, essentially.
John Cusack's an amazing actor.
Yeah, 2012, my favourite film that he made.
Shut up, man.
Great Scott, Marty!
Oh, there it
But
goes.
obviously, if you're filming a backlot, it's going to be a lot of people on film too, isn't it? They can just do it any time, really.
Well,
Right.
they pioneered it though, didn't they? Because this was one of the first films to be filmed on the backlot.
No, man. Howie, man. They've been filming the backlots all the way
No,
through the 1900s, man.
I think he means the clock tower. I think he means the set. The Gremlins used it, and Munster Squad used it, and everyone else uses it.
I always think that Groundhog
Comment
Day was
section,
on this as well. Groundhog Day looks a similar kind of city as well, so.
Yeah, it could have totally been the same place, yeah.
I mean, he really would be scared of that. He's already been up there today.
It took all day to set all that stuff up, and one tree knocks it down. Why not just move a tree out of the way?
Well, I'd say for a scientist, you would think they would have...
Have you guys ever seen Lake House with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock?
No.
Fuck me, what an amazing movie, but what a headfuck. So basically, Sandra Bullock buys this house on the lake that's got, like, every wall's glass, right? So she's like, that's it. And when she puts a letter in the mailbox, Keanu Reeves is like, ooh, look at this. And Keanu Reeves is 2 years in the past. So, like, there's a bit where, oh, I wish I had a tree outside, and he goes and plants a tree, so then all of a sudden a tree appears, and she goes, oh, thank you. But it all happens through this letterbox. Like, it's a really good film, but it proper twists your brain, like.
Yeah.
He had 4 minutes when he pulled up.
I wonder how many DeLoreans they actually had for this film. They probably had a few, like 3 of them. Isn't one of them like a replica of the one that they used, but something happened to the original one or something like that? The one that's in Universal Studios is like it's made from different parts or something like that.
Like a skeleton job, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of infamous cars, I just saw a video this morning. Hasbro just released the Afterlife.
This plasma
sweeping car. Yeah.
Not for such a kid though. It just didn't have any lights or anything.
Well, I was gonna say it looked alright, and then like the guy had the camera angle weirdly, so like you had the figure next to it, and I thought, oh, finally they've made a car that like scaled to the figures. No,
No.
it's tiny when you finally put the figure like the camera in line with it.
Yeah.
It's like ridiculous. I think if they did the car size to the figure, it'd be like £200 rather than 50.
Yeah, well, they're releasing the figures later on in the year to go with the vehicle. Like, but to be honest, like, I've seen those Hollywood rides, the Jada ones, the metal ones. I prefer them ones, to be honest. Like,
there used to be a model shop in the Metro. I forget what it's called.
Model Zone.
That's the one. Jesus Christ. I think I probably could have come up with that if I guessed.
Well, if you guys remember, Model Zone used to be, it used to be next to HMV eventually, but it was along by, where, in the Blue Quadrant, but there was also, if you remember the little village used to have, there used to be a little model shop in there as well.
Yeah. I just remember, I could never afford to buy stuff from it, but I used to go in there all the time just to watch, like, because I had, like, the A-Team van, like, Night Rider, and I had all the different vehicles, and I was, like, sitting there just going, I look at them.
I'm not joking. I've been looking at those Jada. Every time I go to like Smiths, have a look around. I will see those Jada toys, the vehicles. They look really good actually. You get a Batmobile 89, you get Batman Forever, you get an A-Team van, you even get a Nightmare on Elm Street car. You know at the end.
Oh yes.
You get that. So you know, I think the prices are only like £20 each. You know, they're not that bad for the detail on them. So the next few months, I might pick up like one a month if I can, like for like a display. But yeah, definitely the Batmobile from '89 and maybe Batman Forever.
Well, hopefully next week we'll start the Batman podcast with Big David after he's had his bathroom put in.
So just to be on record, he's got 2 minutes left.
Are you fucking timing this?
Well, because he said he had 4, and we've seen the hand turn twice, so that's why I know.
Ah,
It's not like I'm literally got a stop clock or anything like that.
I was going to say, Carl, it's just a movie. Like fucking hell, timing.
Damn it. It's all about time travel. If you're going to get something right,
Right.
Yeah, if you're going to make a movie about time travel, at least get the concept of time right.
Yes. Although I quite like the way the Avengers did it in Endgame, where they had a scene where they basically, like, I think, like Paul Rudd and what's he call him? I forget his name now, but they were basically talking about time travel, but they literally turn around and say, like, hold on a minute, so you're trying to tell me, like, Back to the Future with all lies? He's like, oh yeah, it's all rubbish. It's like, they name like 3 or 4 different time travel films.
Well, one of the best time travel films we haven't talked about, Hot Tub Time Machine. Fucking genius, man.
You know what it is? I was late on that one, and I tell you what, man, I don't rate it that much. It's
What?
good. I enjoy watching it, but I didn't feel a need to watch the second one, and I literally don't think I can see myself going back to watching it again.
Do you know what's weird about the second one though, right? So John Cusack's not in the second one, yeah, because like it's like basically it's his relative or whatever. And then on the original ending, John Cusack turns up and shoots everybody and goes back into the time machine, and like they cut that out, the ending. So like John Cusack isn't, but he is meant to be in the sequels. It's fucking weird.
I've seen it once, I just couldn't get into it. I mean, Carl, I just couldn't get into it, so never bothered watching the second one.
Yeah. I didn't dislike watching it, I just felt it was kind of meh. Not something I would go out my way and watch again, but don't get me wrong, I know at least 2 or 3 people who swear by it and say it's amazing, so it is definitely got the market.
There's the cinema from Gremlins.
Yeah.
Whoom. The Atomic Kid.
The second one that has the cinema sign saying Back to the Future, starring Eric Stoltz.
What?
No.
I'm sure
The second one's got the Michael Jackson bar in.
The second one, George.
It's about the cinema, man. Yeah, it's about the cinema background.
I swear, like, on the cinema sign there where it says town, I'm sure there's a scene where it says Back to the Future starring Eric Stoltz.
No.
I have to look that up.
I remember the one from Gremlins, the thingy in the skies. Obviously, that was like Kusack, wasn't it? And A Boy's Life, which was E.T. I remember them two once being in Gremlins.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Lethal Weapon. Lethal Weapon, The Lost Boys is on the telly.
Yeah. It's Warner Brothers, man. I don't like it.
So connected.
Oh, homeless people. I haven't seen these for ages.
Ollie the Magic
So you
Bum.
never see a homeless man on a bench anymore, do you?
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, I've been playing the new Tony Hawk's remastered, right? And I tell you what,
There's homeless people on there.
that Ollie the Bum where he magically disappears, it took me fucking ages to find the second time he moved. Because you only get 2 minutes and you're like, come on, where's he gone to?
I never knew that shop was called Elmore's Toys or something like that in the background.
Assembly of Christ is now on the cinemas, Jesus.
Oh, but it's a little bit early. Rather be early than late.
Bank of America.
So far, the DeLorean's have been a bit of a letdown. Like, I mean, there's no really good advertising for them, is it?
Well, they were never known for being a really good car, though, were they?
Nah.
It was just the look.
The Irish company, isn't it? DMC, Irish company, they just basically held loads of money back, didn't they? And put the cheap parts in them.
I mean, don't get us wrong, if my mini car doors opened up, I would be like, alright, but the problem is I would completely and utterly knock myself out with them. Because even me boot...
Your mini reminds you of Austin Powers, Gold member, your mini
What's
time
wrong?
machine.
My mini looks like Batman's mini. That's what it looks like. It's a little tank.
So I've just double checked, and I'm kind of right and I'm wrong. So has anyone seen the TV series The Fringe?
No.
No.
It's amazing. But it's basically a sci-fi alternate universe kind of thing, and apparently there's an episode on there where there's a cinema sign in the background saying Back to the Future starring Eric Stoltz.
Eric Stoltz. That makes more sense. I don't think they would put in here just to put wounds in.
Which I don't know. But I don't know how. I mean, I know he goes on record, which I think is a bit of a cop out, saying that he has no memory of it. But was it I mean, it must be shit dealing at the time, but was there much bad blood there? Does anyone know?
The thing is, though,
I don't think so.
he would still get paid. He would still get his contract honoured. He'll say he doesn't remember it because he'll been told, don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Like Billy D. Williams is supposed to play Two-Face in Batman Returns, but they're written him out, didn't they? They still paid him the money for it.
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
Well, I mean, most people have it in the contracts now, though. That's why, not that I think it's justified whatsoever, but that's why they're saying, like, with Johnny Depp, the only silver lining is that, obviously, he only filmed, like, not even a day's worth of scenes for the new Harry Potter film, but he gets paid in full because he has it in his contract.
Yeah. Right, I asked a question here. The bit where Doc gets a letter out, yeah? Okay? He taped it together, yeah, but he shredded it up so many times. And it was raining. I'm sure it was raining beforehand. How did it survive 30 years? And why would he bring it with him for?
Well, I mean, it's...
Just for keepsake.
Well, no, he's got it. It's tucked into his core, hence why that would explain the dry part of it. But yeah, maybe, I mean, it's a pretty, but it's a pretty important part of his life if he knows it's coming. So he's probably going to say he's going to turn up.
So then, when Marty went back in time, so went back to the future in 1955, Doc would have to go on the hands and knees and pick all those bits of paper up, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
But then Doc would know anyway that this was going to happen to him. Why did he not take more precautions in the first place?
What precautions?
Obviously,
he wore a bulletproof vest.
It's a butterfly effect, though, isn't it? It's like the kind of...
You can't change too much because too much will change. Like I say, sorry, I'm stepping over there, but that's the butterfly effect. He knows he can't do too much different, otherwise he won't know the outcome. Whereas he knows if he does the exact same thing, he knows exactly what the outcome's going to be.
No, stop there. What happened if Martin never went in the DeLorean, yeah? None of this would have happened in the first place? But then Doc would have died? Oh my god, my head's all over the place. Never mind.
Honestly, don't watch that film Predestination. It's mint. But you sit up there and you're like, right, that happened to this, that, like by the time you get it, like, your brain just starts to bleed. You're like, ah.
Now, Carl, if Marty didn't go back to the future, then Doc would have died then, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's established that Doc died.
Yeah.
Marty saved his life by making that.
Back to 55. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously he gets up and he's got his truck.
Sleep straight though.
And he sleeps like he's been fucking held down and bummed. I mean, Jesus.
We've all had dreams like that, going back to 1955.
I thought you were about to say we've all had dreams like that about getting bummed. I was like, where are you going there, Paul? Jesus Christ.
That's good.
Jesus, Paul.
Good recovery.
Doesn't he play Jimmy in Superman? His brother? Or not? No, it's not Jimmy Olsen, is it? Is it?
No, I don't think so. I shall check for you.
Yeah, can it be
open on the screen? I've got it on the screen already, but IMDb anyway.
It looks like Jimmy Olsen, doesn't it, from Superman, the movie from 1978?
Yeah, I can see why he's coming on to Dave McFly. Let's have a look. He's most known for Back to the Future, Superman, Jimmy Olsen, Superman 2, Jimmy Olsen, Superman 3,
Supergirl.
You named it, Jimmy Olsen.
Supergirl also.
Yeah, it's not only best known.
Supergirl's awesome, I love Supergirl.
And he's still in the DC universe because he does the voice of Oscar Ben Sadowski in 2017.
So basically, the future's all now. The future's perfect now. They're not lazy bums and stuff now. They're all good careers. There you go.
Not perfect for poor Biff, though, is it?
You know what
the thing is Biff not the greatest victim here, though, because in the reality, when things aren't messed with, he's actually a success. So really, they've screwed him over by messing with the time continuum and made him into a right bum.
What's scary is that people still have those green Adidas tracksuits now.
Yeah. Although still, it's Biff's automobile detailing, so he's obviously not doing too bad. They make him out to be like a proper butler to the McFlys, but he's got his own business.
Amazon delivery there for him.
Right, the thing is, right, they don't run about that, like, oh yeah, he's more successful and all that, and Biff's his bitch because he got knocked out and Biff's never recovered from it, you know what I mean? So we're trying to say that Biff's got a bit of a bad head. But how does it explain the kids being a bit smarter?
And that photograph does not look like Chris being brother, does it? The back of the book does
that
not
is
look
a
like
fucking big-ass book to start, like. But yeah, it's all about, like, again, just for the kids, the sperm's a bit better.
I don't think anyone's really considered how much it's going to cost to fuel that car, though.
Wait, isn't that different? No, sorry.
And he's very attractive.
Now, all this was refilmed, wasn't it? And for the next one, because they changed the actors.
Yeah. I thought I did a list, but we mustn't have. We must have just did it for the second one. Yeah. I was getting confused then.
I know, it's literally because the second one starts off straight away, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then they're just leaving a bunch of laser discs in the back alleyway in Back to the Future 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't mess with laser discs.
Money, gotta come back with me, money!
It's your kids!
To the future, money!
So again, for all he was head on, like, making sure things went the way they should have gone, he's kind of breaking his own rules here now.
By changing the future.
It's supposed to go wrong for him. That should have been the case.
But essentially he lives forever though, doesn't he? Because he gets stuck in the time paradox of life. He's just, you know what I mean? It's just like alternate realities and the Wild West and weird kinds of shit like that, you know? San Miguel.
Wiki Wow West. The name's Jim West, Desperado. Say what?
Wiki Wow Wow.
Wiki Wow West. Wild West.
I didn't hear that, you know. It's certainly not a good film for any.
I think that film would have been better.
It's a terrible film.
I think Kevin Kline should have been cast. I don't rate him in the movie.
Yeah.
Did you see the camera through in the reflection of the license plate there? When the car goes back?
Nah, I never spotted anything like that myself.
You see it in the next one.
We'll have to spend a budget on that one, didn't I? CGI.
Okay. So how many great Scots out of 10?
Oh, Back to the Future, great Scots. How many? You go for it, so.
Roger Rabbit had the best views from used to thoughts.
Yeah. I don't know. You go first, Mason. I'm trying to think.
To me, honestly, like as a trilogy, I've got a bit of more love. But for this one, it's maybe a 6 for me. It's just... Well, the thing is, right, I mean, don't get us wrong, I do have a place in my heart for it when I seen it as a kid, especially the start and all that, and, like, I think even, like, I only had half of it taped on them days, you know, but, like, again, it's, like, it jumps back to the 50s, and, like, I'm not really, like, at that time, it was, like, right, you go back to the whole Pleasantville era. I've got more love for the sequel because it goes to the future and has a bit more fun, you know what I mean? But I think Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd are perfectly cast in it. Crispin Glover as well is really good. The music's great. It just doesn't... It's a well-made movie in an era where there was fucking shitloads of other movies, and I know how iconic it has, and how it's a household name, and it's reached out to loads of different people. To me, it's just at the 6, really. It's good, you know what I mean, but it's just... There's not really any action scenes enough for me in it, you know what I mean? It's very, like... It's more of a soap opera than anything.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I see that low. It's not like I'm going much higher, but for me, it's I'm 7.5 Great Scots.
You invented the 0.5s that you're not meant to allow to have a 0.5.
Show me the rules. Where did it say I can't have a 0.5?
Paul, get the rule book out.
Let's figure it out before. Okay, right. Okay, then I'm gonna go 7. I'll downgrade 7 out of 10. But to be honest with you, though, like everything you've just said, but as a positive, I mean the music's brilliant. The story tells itself quite well. I mean, sure, there's bits and pieces where it gets a bit choppy, but it's a fairly well-paced film. Yeah, no, I mean, if they didn't do another one, I think this would have been a fairly standard 80s film, and it's completely different to what's out there. Like I mentioned earlier on, you've got things like Breakfast Club, you've got things like Terminator. So for a film that's totally different to everything else that's coming out, and yet it still stands today as a genuine, great little sci-fi. But like I mentioned earlier on, as in IMDb, given the last 120-year rating, it's now lost 11 spots in whatever. I mean, I don't think it's in the 250 best film, but it's now down 11 points. So I can see why most people don't have like that much attachment to it. But
there's one thing.
I feel like this is ideal for me. It's an easy watch. I don't care about the time travel aspect of it. I'm not sitting there trying to figure out how they did it.
There's one thing about what Back to the Future does in this, and other things try to copy it and failed. I'm not saying Back to the Future was the first, but in an era where they did a lot of it, and we've talked about this before, Carl, with Flash Gordon, is leaving it open at the end and wanting a sequel. And, you know, Back to the Future works because they do that consistency, but when you do stuff like Flash Gordon, Masters of the Universe, where they try to leave it open for a sequel and it never happens.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't know, it's just for me, it's kind of, there's not really much wrong with it. And you say about the action scenes, and I would probably disregard that mostly because it's not that type of film. I feel like the fact that you get the skateboard scene, you do get the punch, you know, the infamous punch. So when you think of what the film's like kind of trying to be, I personally feel like it got enough action in there for what it would be. But no, I mean, like I say, each to their own. I think I'm interested to see where Paul goes, because I mean, obviously you're 6, I'm now 7, begrudgingly, but you know. What's how Paul?
Out of Great Scott out of 10, I'd give it a 5.
You're loading? Alright.
Yeah, well, it's nice and simple for me. Back to the Future 2 is my favourite. But then again, can't be right. If it wasn't 2 or 3, standalone, it'd probably be a bit more up there for me, if you know what I mean? But obviously the second one is the ultimate favourite one, to be honest, like. But I don't mind Back to the Future 1. It's you know what you're going to get, really. But like I said, there is action scenes, but not like probably like action you want, because it's more of a family film than anything else. Like, but the acting's great, the special effects are still great from 1985. I mean, and it still holds up to this day. There's an odd few blue screen bloopers, but that's like most every film. I can pick a few out of Star Wars, know what I mean? But again, I mean, it's you can't go wrong about the future, like. But yeah, it gets a 5 from me because if let's say you had by one Back to the Future film out of 3 of them, yeah, if we had by one to keep physically, it would be Back to the Future 2. Because I can go watch Back to the Future 2 again and again and again, because I enjoyed it when I watched Back to the Future 2.
Plus, like, you've got elements of, like, if you watch Back to the Future 2, you actually get a refresh of number 1 anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't mind. I said for the time it's good. But I said if it was a standalone film, it'd probably be like a 7 or 8. But because it did number 2, it's got a little bit lower for me, because I always prefer the future settings and a bit more actiony in the second one. It's a bit more darker. Like it's never do really. It's a really dark film compared to the first one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So with all our scores together, you're looking at it 18 out of 30.
Oh yeah, that's it. And Carl always looking out for a new way can make himself some useful, creating new things before Paul Ray copyrights them, raise ratings.
Well, all my ideas end up getting given to Paul Ray anyway, don't they? So you know.
Yeah. That was an accident.
Listen, I'm merely amused to you all. You can all be inspired by my work. Thanks, Paul.
Well, we will be back for Back to the Future 2.
I don't do it for the thanks, Paul. I just do it because I love it.
Yes, we will be back for Back to the Future 2, and hopefully very soon we'll start Batman's, and me and Carl and me and Paul have also said like we're going to do other random stuff. So for now, I've been Stephen Monkey Mason, joined with Paul Ray, who's also called Denied, not Denied, Reject, Declined, and Carl McSorley. Thanks for listening. Goodbye for now.